Fiction by RCB.
The Time Travel Voucher. It is Christmas, 2033. I am 90 years old. Or as I like to joke, 90 years young. But it is no joke. Growing old is a terrible thing. Shakespeare was a man of his time. In his day, the English language was still much influenced by the invasion of the French under William the Conqueror. King William, a Frenchman, made French the language of the court. The word sans is a French word which means without. Shakespeare summarised declining old age so well. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Second, childishness, only followed by the big O. No, not Roy Orbison, the big O, oblivion. But in 2033, a ray of sunlight is peeping over the distant hills. My sons and daughters have clubbed together to buy me a Christmas present. It is the latest craze, the work of neurological scientists. The answer to the sans state. The answer to second childishness and mere oblivion. It is a time travel voucher. You can go back in your life, back to when you were young and healthy and fit and, most importantly, happy. You just pack your bags, climb into the HGW machine, and you're whisked back to a year of your choosing. In case you missed it, the HGW machine is named after H.G. Wells, the writer who first contemplated such a machine at the turn of the century before last. But now it is a reality. I know that I have been increasingly hard to live with for the last 10 years or so, maybe 20 or more. Since my teeth started to decay and fall apart and disappear, since my eyes began to form cataracts so thick that I can't see myself in the mirror, not that there's much to look at, since I lost the ability to distinguish between a piece of carrot cake, a lemon and a lump of chalk. Now everything tasted like porridge, particularly tasteless porridge. Since arthritis became my constant companion. Since I couldn't remember if it was a ball of string or Tuesday. Since my wayward memory disappeared into a dark wood and hasn't emerged yet. I think my children have had enough of me. I think they want me gone. Not gone in a sense of dead and buried, 6 feet under and pushing up the daisies. No, even they aren't that cruel. They'd just prefer it if I wasn't around anymore. In point of fact, I'm pretty sure they want the best for me. They want me to travel back into my lifetime, back 30 or 40 or 70 or 80 years or more, back to a time when I was happy. So they bought me a time travel voucher, and it cost them big time. The thing is, I need to find a time when I was happy and contented and, let's be frank, not a grumpy old man who is past his use-by date, whose memory is failing, who looks for things to be annoyed by. So, childhood. No, 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 no! I've lived through that growing up time already. I have the scars to prove it. I don't think so. In those days, I wouldn't say boo to a goose. In my childhood, I believed in Father Christmas and the Easter Bunny and God and Jesus. Boy, I was sucked into all that stuff. I don't want to go back to a time of plastic raincoats and sou'wester hats, lunches composed of a piece of flake and 6 chips, or buttered Boston bun from Ferguson's shop. Collecting tadpoles in a jar. Going yabbying, rabbiting, mushrooming, piddling in my bed every night because I was highly strung, and hours playing with my dinky toys in the backyard because I wasn't allowed to go out onto the streets where the rough boys were. No thanks. I don't want to go back to a childhood full of self-doubt and loneliness. Perhaps I could go back to my late teens and early 20s, back when I thought I might be a Methodist minister, when all that I wanted was to be accepted and liked. Back when I thought I was in love, but it was more like a case of acute constipation. Back when I had a terrible bout of Billy Grahamitis. Back when I imagined that Jennifer was lovely. So I fell for her hook, line and bloody grey anchor that dragged me down and in the end into deep depression. What was it that Zorba the Greek said in answer to the emotionally constipated Englishman? The Englishman asked, "Have you ever been married?" Zorba answered, "Am I not a man? And is man not stupid?" I am a man. So I married. House, wife, children, the full catastrophe. I married, and that ended in pain and disaster. Perhaps I could go back to my late 30s. Those were the days. Not. An ulcer bleed. I collapsed and came to on the floor of the toilet, surrounded by blood and the unspeakable matter that came from my bowels. 4 ulcers had burst in my stomach and duodenum, the rush to the hospital in an ambulance, followed by the unequalled joy of a marriage breakup, followed by 3.5 years of mental and emotional self-flagellation that goes by the name of psychiatric therapy. Not on your Nelly. There is no way I want to live through that again. Or perhaps I could go back to teaching. Wouldn't that be a source of bliss? I don't think so. At 90, I've already lived my life once. I don't want to live it again. I have no desire to go back. Onward, ever onward, I say, until the bitter end. Because, quite honestly, I've never felt so well as I do right now. For the first time in my whole life, I can do what I want, when I please. I can read, I can write, I can walk, I can nap, whenever I feel like it. The other day, I downloaded 240 philosophical questions from the internet. I would like to answer them in the time I have left. Has it been worth it? What have I learned? Is there a God? Is there an afterlife? What is the best, most environmentally sound way of disposing of my body when I reach the end of my time? What is love? Where exactly do you and me and the rest of us fit into the universe? How big is the universe? So many questions. So many big questions. I'd like to at least draft my answers to all 240 of them before the inevitable. As for going back in time, revisiting the past, reliving all the wrong decisions I have made? No way, especially considering the proviso, and you can't come back. I can't think of anything more soul-destroying. Besides, there are so many questions of philosophy just waiting to be answered.